branch the poetry, come and rest a while with me, and watch the way the word web weaves between the shady story leaves. The branches of the poet tree reach from the mountains to the sea. So come and dream or come and climb, just don't get hit by falling rhymes.
It's boring. It's boring.
Yeah.
It's pretty boring. But what if she reads it differently? What if I read it? What if I read it? Underneath the poetry, come and rest a while with me and watch the way the word web weaves between the shady story leaves. The branches to the poetry reach from the mountains to the sea. So come and dream or come and climb. Just don't get hit by falling around.
Yeah, I like that. I like the way you read.
That's it. Do you get the point of what it's saying? It's still poetry. Who likes Lil Wayne? I don't. Who likes Nicki Minaj? Who likes Chris Brown? All that's poetry. Everything that involves music has a form to it. It's formed. Underneath the poetry, come and rest a while with me. It's the same thing with hip hop and rap. It's all the same thing. So if you say you like music, who doesn't like music? Anybody here don't like music? Who does like music? So would you consider me, would you look at me and would you think that I was a poet or an MC or a singer or a rapper? What would you think?
A rapper?
No.
A singer.
I'm a singer.
Oh, you sing?
But I'm also an MC. An MC is somebody that does rap music with the purpose and the message behind it. So in contrast to speaking about guns and gangbanging and things that are not going to help benefit y'all, I talk about things that are real that you can relate to. So T-Pain is
singer slash rapper.
Generic singer. Auto-tune heavy, which I can't really say much about. I like to use auto-tunes too in my albums. For y'all that don't know me, my name is Versatyle. Miss Lane asked me to come speak to y'all today about poetry because that's where I started. In y'all's grade level, I started writing poetry. I actually had a scholarship to the Connecticut Art of Literature when I was 13 years old. By writing poetry, I wrote my first book when I was 10. That's why I started doing music. And when I used to feel the same way. I would read poems and like it was boring until you read them and you understand that the beauty behind poetry is you get to control the pen and the paper. So if you don't necessarily like Poetry by Shel Silverstein, then rewrite it yourself. Write the form, look at the form of it, the rhyme scheme and the stanzas underneath the poetry. Come and rest a while with me, they're rhymes. It's the same thing as going, hip-hop is poetry, words composed to a beat. Open your soul, dispose what you need. The world is full of greed, TV is the enemy, as well as the enemy need my eyes to see. Believe if you can achieve, easy to deceive the masses. Closed mind, your life's tragic. Titans clash, pursue cash too fast, they crash, head-on collision, one-way path, fast-track living, and the class trying to teach you the beauty of poetry, unique soliloquy, titillating speech, motivation to the mind. Ray Charles did poetry, but he did it with piano keys. Tupac did it too, Biggie and Lil Wayne, they all use poetry to kill the pain. So open up your mind, get into the beat, and understand that hip-hop too is poetry. Now that's a poem, right? But if I go over here, now that was a poem. Did you hear that was a poem, correct? You sure? You sure that was a poem? Was that a poem?
No, that was a rap.
Poem?
Yes, that's a
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
We'll fight for it. We'll fight for it. Okay, that was a poem, right?
Yeah.
But I wrote that to this beat just a few minutes before I got here. Hip-hop, poetry, words composed to a beat, open your soul, so don't dispose. What you need, the world is full of greed. TV is the enemy, as well as the enemy. I need my eyes to see, believe if you can achieve, cause it's easy to deceive the masses. Close mind, your lights trash it, tights clash. Pursuing cash too fast, they crash. Hit on collision on a one-way path. Fast track living. In the class trying to teach the beauty of poetry with unique soliloquy of titillating speech. Motivation to the mind. Ray Charles did poetry, but he did it with piano keys. Tupac did it too. Biggie and Lil Wayne, they all use poetry to cure the pain. So open up your mind and get into the beat and understand that hip hop too is poetry. But that was poetry, right? Originally it was poetry until you heard it to a beat. So what's the difference? What's the difference between poetry and music? Nothing but a beat. Nothing but a beat. Has anybody ever really sat down and listened to some of Tupac's lyrics? Do y'all know that he began with poetry? Tupac was a poet first. Before he ever became a musician, he was a poet. He actually wrote a book called The Rose That Grew from Concrete. Has anybody heard that book? Yes. Has anybody read anything from that book? That was
I
cool.
showed it to you.
You did?
Because it looks like the Texan poem.
Yeah.
There were flowers inside the wall.
That's poetry.
Like
So when you sit, y'all listen, y'all pay attention and listen. She didn't call me here for no reason. I want everybody to get a sheet of paper and a pencil, real quick.
Nope. We old, man. We old.
You know, with technology today, y'all don't really get like paper and pencils anymore. But the purpose behind me asking you to get a pencil and paper is, I'm old school. And to me, I like to grab the pen and the page, and I like to see myself write the lyrics. I like to see myself write whatever it is I'm dealing with. So when everybody's got their pen and pencil, just say okay. You, give me one topic, one thing that you like in your life. Yeah. What's your name? Isis. My name is Verse. Nice to meet you. Give me one topic that you like in life and put it on the head of your paper. I'm going to help you write a poem. What's one thing that you love? No matter what it is. You like clothes, you like shoes, talking, texting, Facebook, Tumblr, YouTube. Did I keep going? You like music? Okay, what's one of your favorite artists? Are you getting shy? Because you don't even look shy.
I'm not shy.
I know you're not. I can tell.
It's the camera, bro.
Camera doing it.
Yeah.
You're going to be on the internet, is that kind of embarrassing?
I'm on the internet.
Okay.
Wait.
Y'all can actually go look at this later on our website. Go to the wildwolfpack.com and check us out. Wildwolfpack.com. It's the shirts. What's one thing that you like? You with the multicolored hair. Basketball. All right. Write basketball at the top of your head. What are some words, y'all, that are associated with basketball?
Throw, shoot,
Throw,
dribble.
dribble. All right. Let's start writing a poem right now. I like to throw the ball. I like to shoot
The ball.
the ball. I like to dribble the ball, but I like to dribble without fall. Without fall.
Oh, yo, bro. Yo. I'm gonna write it. I just got yeah.
I like to play.
Basketball.
I like to hoop.
Ball.
3-point shots.
Yo, I'm not good at coaching.
I'm not either. I'm a big guy, so I let them play ball. I don't play. Me, I like music and I like video games.
Well, you want somebody that you do poetry. You should be on the WNBA.
I don't play that. If I play Call of Duty, go.
Ghost, turn up.
If y'all get online, y'all on the PS3, look for the Wild Wolfpack. Hope we get on there as a clan and we play. Y'all think y'all can beat me?
We know we can.
Uh-oh.
Probably can. But I got some guys in my group.
I got some guys too now.
All right, come on, let's get back. Come on, y'all. Pay attention. The sixth graders in the back. What do y'all think the difference between hip hop, music, and poetry is? You right there. Quiet guy.
Daniel, Jacob, Alex. Oh wait, who are you pointing to? Sorry, there.
What do you think the difference between hip hop and poetry is?
There's more beat to it, and it sounds way different from what the original was.
What type of music do you like to listen to?
Rap.
Rap? You listen to rap? What you listen to? Like who? Eminem.
Oh, man.
Good choice. Jake, on verse. So y'all think poetry is really boring, right? No. You don't? Okay, well that's good. No, we got one person that thinks you don't. What is it that you like about poetry? Do you personally like to write poetry? You do? Do you write? She does? Really? When's your birthday? She's an Aries.
Yeah.
Taurus.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So what are some of the topics you've written about in your poetry?
Oh, like I am.
I am. Do you have any with you? Do you have one available that you can read me?
Oh,
I am.
You have it there.
music video for Sunday.
Not too. Nope.
Versatyle, Wildchyld, I got haters on my back, like quarterback sacks in the blitz. Take them off like Herschel Walker, leave them in between the heads. A classic city legend, catch me in my red and black. University of Georgia, that's where all my dogs be at. Party hard on Miller's Ave, tailgating on Market Street. Some already just got headphones on and they jogging to me. Number one up in my city, all over the radio. Georgia fans gon' love it, but them Gators, they gon' hate me though. Tampa Stadium, I got it hype, and everybody crawl. Families come to see them dogs, wait for them to kick it off, and all you hear is now the game is underway, it's best when on a sunny day. More Ricky on the field, encouraging all of them dogs to play. All you hear is kill them dogs, stadium cheering them on. Then they turn it up a notch, now watch us as we bring it home. Wait, my baby, as I'm up on top of y'all some haters, and hold it back, ain't in our nature. You will respect my southern flavor, away from all these haters. I'm up on top of y'all some haters, and hold it back, ain't in our nature. You will respect my southern flavor, my southern flavor. We rep for that red and black, looking for the best, and the SEC them is where it's at. UGA, we party hard, that's the same way that we work. Disrespect my dogs, and you gon' end up with your feelings hurt. We take it that serious, we support this city, man. Anywhere you go inside the class, you gon' see a fan. Everybody love them dogs, so you don't come you to support the dog. It's the reason we don't like a gator. Hey, Georgia, Bulldog, Georgia, Bulldog. Name a team you know who go as hard and got some big heart. These haters, I'm a bulldog and y'all some haters. They hold it back, ain't in our nature. You will respect my southern flavor, my southern flavor. Away from all these haters. I'm a bulldog and y'all some haters. They hold it back, ain't in our nature. You will respect my southern flavor, my southern flavor, my southern flavor. I was raised to be a dog, to be a game conservation, a razorback to haul. All I know is going hard, never quit and never stop like David Queen, Quentin Moses, Aaron Murray, Todd Gurley. I got love for every dog, past, present, and future too. We might take the loss, but next season we coming back for you. Send the whole team after you. Catch you, then we tackle you. We gon' beat you on and green, and we don't do no black and blue. That's the way we beat the Gators. Shout out to all of my haters. Versatyle, Wildchyld, you gon' respect my southern flavor. We the me in the paper. Come and see it at a show. Wear that red and black, wear it proud, let everybody know. Make sure you at every game. Make sure that you represent all that southern flavor. Every classic city resident. Don't be a bandwagon fan. Stick around for every game. Win or lose don't matter. Just make sure they don't forget the name. It goes
I like y'all. I like the shoe. She's a hater.
This is why I let y'all see that. Oh, that come from that come from I believe it was my 6th grade teacher, Miss Campbell, at Burn Harris Lines, where I went to school at. I used to hate poetry. I didn't like to read it. I didn't like to write it. And what I learned about poetry was a lot of times you may not be able to talk to your parents, or you may not be able to talk to your friend about something that you're dealing with, right? You don't always want to tell people what's going on with you. I'm gonna talk to y'all like y'all know what y'all talking about, all right? I ain't gonna talk to you like kids, because I hear folks talking about Molly and all other stuff, so y'all ain't stupid, right?
Yep.
Y'all got sense, y'all out there, y'all know what's going on. So I'm not gonna talk to you like you babies, you grown people before them. So this the point behind this. This is where it starts at for you. This is where your life is really beginning. This is where you have the decision right now to decide whether you're gonna invest some time into your future, whether your future is important enough. Because there was a time in my life when this wasn't even possible. Being on the radio wasn't possible. Who knows who Pastor Troy is? You know who Pastor Troy is? Tell me about Pastor Troy.
I don't know like I just know he's an artist.
He's a rapper.
He's a rapper.
He's a rapper. Been around quite a long time. One of the oldest, almost the oldest, because he's not old. But he's been in the game for a minute. I'm doing a video on the song with him coming up in a month. Y'all know who knows who Wale is? More than likely. More than likely, hopefully, we got to talk about it later tomorrow, but I might be opening for Wale at the end of this month at Leisure Field.
Wait, teenagers love to come?
I believe so.
All you gotta do is show my ID.
I believe so. Don't quote me on that because I'm on camera, so I ain't finna get quoted. Who listens to the radio? Anybody listen to the radio?
Yeah.
So y'all know the Georgia, the Athens radio station, right?
Yeah.
right? WUOG. Okay, tune in tomorrow night then. I'm doing a live show on the radio station tomorrow night.
What?
9 o'clock.
Ooh, no.
Your mom gonna have you in bed by 9?
I'll be trapped out there. I gotta get my money some kind of way.
They wanna know what's it is.
Know when them street lights come on.
What station is it?
WUOG,
WU.
University of Georgia Radio.
Get my money.
Well, anyway, y'all listen up. Listen. I want to read, who is Shakira? Did I pronounce that correct?
Shakiris. Yeah, no,
Shakira.
she might be a little shy. She might be.
Oh, that's not her name.
I don't know.
Where's she back? She back there?
Yeah, back here in the back. Oh,
This is beautiful. Y'all give her a hand. At least she did. Give her a hand. Okay, chill out. What's wrong with you? Why you couldn't get that girl a hand? Well, then you give her a hand by yourself. Clap your hands and give her a hand by yourself. Clap your hands. This is a class participation. Everybody participate, man. Don't make her feel like she ain't did nothing wrong. She the only person in the bathroom to deal with I asked.
No, she ain't. I did something.
Did you?
She gave it to you. I gave it to you. I gave you home. It's cut down.
Yeah. She
Well,
feels.
that's 2. Who else? Anybody else?
hold up. You remember you said you learned all love.
I wanted you to write a poem out.
Look, I only came on like close images.
4 is enough. She got 4. So I'm gonna read what she wrote on paper because I think it's really good. I think it has a lot of deep meaning to it. Let's see if y'all can get anything from this. It's by me, the beautiful. You know my name, not my story. You see my smile, not my pain. You notice my cuts, not my scars. You can read my lips, not my mouth.
Oh wow. Oh wow. That's beautiful.
Well, that's poetry. That's poetry. That's a form. I mean, that's really good poetry.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Ronisha Carpenter. My favorite thing in life is music. I like the way music sounds and the way it flows. I'm a singer, but I need more practice. Have you ever heard the saying that if you have a gift, you should use it every day? Well, I believe in that saying. You should use your imagination and appreciate everything you have in life. I like how she incorporated it.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for that. Thank you for that too as well.
So y'all see that poetry doesn't have to rhyme, right? So that's called free verse, where you don't have a rhyme scheme. So neither one of those had a rhyme scheme, but they're poetry, right? So not everything has to have the same rhyme scheme or rhythm.
Hold on, y'all said free verse? Versatile.
Oh man, you know.
Yeah, I'ma do it. I'ma do it. Uh-huh.
Do it.
Yeah, make him do it. Y'all know what you're talking about, right? Yeah. You can do it. Use your imagination.
That's what he wants me to do. He wants me to freestyle.
Freestyle it. Do it.
Spoken word freestyle.
Ooh, chicken butt.
Is that a shout out song?
Yes.
Are you shouting chicken moi
Yes.
to a spoken word freestyle?
Yes, I am.
Okay. I can remember a day in my life and a time in my life when I had nothing. When I thought about gunshots busting, the world corrupted. It took many years for me to get my mind frame on the right track, to let go of the weed, the cocaine, and the crack, and stop selling the drugs, and to show myself some love, to love me more than anybody else could. How can I love another if I can't love myself and my brother, and my mother, and my sister? My sister's gone and I miss her. Cousin born, stillborn, he passed away. Now I'm trying hard to find a reason to smile and to laugh today. Seeing like the past has passed away, but I'm trying to find a reason to get on my knees and pray and stay humble. Keep my mind focused on positivity and eradicate all negative energy from within my vicinity. This is the freestyle off of the top. I no longer engage in the dope trade, selling and slinging the rocks. I had to let it all go. You talking about trapping? I'm talking about handcuffs going click and putting you behind bars for years. I did that. Saw bodies carried off in caskets. People stabbed and bleeding and blood leaking for no reason. Old man sliced the cat's throat for $100 and I witnessed it. So I never want to go back to the prison system. Imagine that. It sounds sickening and ridiculous. When I'm watching this cat talking about tramping and inside of his mind, he thinks it's ticklish. But I know that a couple of people in the classroom are maybe digging it or maybe feeling it. But the system nowadays to y'all and our kind is feeling this. They want to see you ignorant. They want to see you deaf, dumb, and blind. They want to see you on drugs, smoking weed, trapping and rapping and blind, confined inside the mind. But now's your time to shine, like me, so you can get out of this classroom, go to the next one and accumulate a little bit of knowledge and information to do better than me.
I'm gonna stop tracking.
Okay, thank you.
Hey.
I can't really rap though, y'all. I'm just playing.
Nah, bro, that was fake. That was good. Yeah. Change me around. Yeah, it sure did.
My job is not to convince you to go out there and do better. My job is to try to show you that if you believe in yourself enough, you don't have to be a stereotype. You don't have to be a statistic. Too many people think it's cool to be foolish. Too many people sit and laugh at the person that sits in the back of the classroom and gets their knowledge and information and picks on that person because they don't want to be stuck in the same system, the same trap. But in reality, when you become my age and you look at y'all and you're saying, what are you doing with your lives? It saddens me when I hear kids y'all age say poetry's boring, because poetry is what created hip-hop. It created country music. It created pop music. But you have to learn your roots. You have to get the proper information before you make an observation of something that you don't have the full knowledge of. Take time to think about the things that come out of your mouth, because you'll be judged and weighed by what you say. If you want to see if somebody's really serious about themselves, listen to what comes out of their mouth. They're going to tell on themselves. If somebody's a positive person, they're going to speak positive things over you, right? Correct? If somebody has your best interest at heart, they're not going to downgrade you or put you down. Correct? If a boy cares about you and a boy like you, he's not going to treat you bad. He'll treat you like the queen you're supposed to be, right? But our society is engineering and raising us to think that it's okay for a man to talk down to you, but it's not okay. I have a wife, and I do not talk down to my wife. I have a son, he's 4 months old, and I'm teaching my son to be a man, to take care of his responsibilities. He's 4 months old, and I talk to him every day. His dad is home every day. My life began with poetry. I began to understand myself through poetry. I would take the pen and I would just write. And I don't know what I write. It's called sugar that I always write. Right? So the purpose of this, the reason why I came, and unfortunately I have to leave in a few minutes. I got called away to handle some deals. But the reason I wanted to speak to y'all about poetry, I think is very, very important. That you understand that this is where you're able to be you at the best of you, or the worst of you. On that paper, it ain't nobody but you and that pen and that pad, right? So whatever you say, that's between you and the paper. You can throw it away or you can let somebody read it. For years, from the age of 9 till I was 18 years old, nobody had ever really read anything I wrote. Nobody had ever read a single thing I had written on paper. I had notebooks, piles of notebooks, full of emotions and things that I felt that I wouldn't let nobody read. And I went to a class one day, and in the class, and I was 18 years old, the lady asked me to write something about my father. And I had a lot of anger towards my dad. I was very angry at my pops for not being there for me. And I wrote this poem in the classroom, and I read it, and the entire classroom busted out in tears. And was like, wow, that was powerful. And that's when I realized the power behind poetry and words. Later on, I found beats, and I started putting words to the beats. To the point now where, years later, I'm doing music on a professional level. I'm not an underground artist, I'm a professional artist. I've been signed to Mature Entertainment in California. My group, after months of working my butt off to get it happen, they just got signed last week. All this came from poetry, expressing myself. Let me tell you the dangers of not expressing yourself. If you take a bottle, and you fill this bottle up full of soda, and you shake it, what happens to the bottle? It gets really hard, but what will eventually happen to that bottle? Exactly, you are a bottle. You're a bottle. And these are emotions. You got caffeine soda in your bottle. And when you shake that soda up, eventually what's going to happen to the bottle? You are the same way. If you hold in your emotions, if you don't find somebody that you can trust to speak to, or at least release your energy and emotions on this paper, that's what I do. That's my release, honestly. I'm not always very comfortable talking about my personal feelings to somebody. But I have no problem picking a pen up and cussing somebody out on paper if I need to. Or writing a love song if I need to. Or talking about my son if I need to. Talking about the joy that I feel, my baby in my hands. So just remember that you are a bottle. And your emotions are in this bottle, this vessel, this place that you contain. And when you shake that bottle up with emotions and you hold them back, eventually what they got to do? They got to come out, don't they? Right? Is this correct? They got to come out. But when you shake that bottle up and you let that stuff out the can, what happens? It makes a mess. You are that bottle. So if them emotions are built up inside of you and you don't release them gently and you explode on somebody, it's probably going to make that's it for today, y'all. That's all I got. I may be back, I may not, I don't know. You know tomorrow?
Miss Hollins, class.